So, well, yeah, but no, it's not because we're
Oh.
going over this one today. Um,
Okay, so just think
um,
about it. You agree that journaling is important, right?
I do, and
Oh,
I think what I need to, because I do need to journal because my memory is horrible.
yeah.
So I need to journal. Maybe, I just have to figure out a way to fit.
Yeah,
It's just
but
like
yeah, so
everything
the
else
problem
that
is
I've
we cannot
implemented.
in my opinion, we can't carve another 10, 20, 30 minutes out of your day because you just got, you're like slammed. I was talking to somebody last night, I think it was you, that told me that they wrote down, they were so freaked, they wrote down everything they had to do before they went to bed that night. And they realized they had 16 hours of work and they had 8 hours before bed.
Yeah,
So I
that's how
feel
I
like
feel.
that's your life. I don't know if that was you that told, but I feel like that's your life. So I'm thinking there's got to be a way we can help you journal as you do other things. And I don't know if you're like me, but I have a horrible memory, and I do joke that my photos are my memory, but that's because when I see a picture, I can remember what happened then. Does that work for you?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
So
Because
maybe just setting a very small goal of taking at least one picture a day of you, your children, your house, anything.
yeah, that's a great idea. My what happens to me is like all those trips that I took, like just the other week. I still have video, I still have pictures, but it's getting them all together and
Okay, but
sitting
that's
down.
okay. That's okay because I feel you. I'm not sympathizing. I'm empathizing because I get it. But the idea is, he says, do this now so that later when you write the book, you'll have it. Same thing with the pictures. I do the same thing every week. I want to have like 3 lifestyle posts on my social media. So I go up to my Google Photos and I pull that. And every time I'm like, oh man, I never told anybody about that. Oh, I forgot about that trip, blah, blah, blah. So just taking them, I think, will help. Because do you have it synced where even on an external drive or iCloud or Google Cloud or somewhere your pictures are saved?
Well,
Without
that's what I'm having difficulty with too, because the reason I lost all my Greece photos and everything from like those years, what, Polly, please turn that back on, buddy, is because my stuff isn't downloading to the
Okay.
cloud, and I don't know what is happening. I'm using like the right
What
cable,
kind of phone do
and
you have?
it's an iPhone. It's an
Okay, do you
iPhone.
not, I know hubby doesn't like a lot of the things on the web, so does he not want you to do Google Photos?
No, I don't know how to do it. I
Okay,
guess I just need to.
well, if you have a Gmail account
I
and you
do.
download the Google Photos app on your phone, Amy's nodding ahead with me.
I have it, but I don't
Okay.
know how to.
Um,
I'll do it.
we'll
I'll
talk, no,
do it.
remind me and we'll talk later, but you just go into the settings for Google Photos and tell it to sync. And you can tell it only when I'm on Wi-Fi or whatever, and I have to go in every once in a while and delete a bunch of stuff that I took with my phone and have, yeah, I have to delete them. But every time I open that Google Photos app, it syncs all the latest pictures. And that way you can take pictures and not worry about losing them.
I have 10 years of photos. Yeah. 10 years.
Mine go back to 2004. I found the oldest ones.
Yep.
And I plan on that going back because I plan on scanning the rest of them. So, Melissa, is there anything in that segment that I read that you would say, I'm not sure that I totally agree with that, or I have a different opinion about that? Just that one.
No, I think it's very important to journal. In fact, I mean, I would love to, in fact, my uncle, my mother's uncle, my great uncle, he was in this, he was a narcotics agent. He was an undercover agent. He actually wrote and published a book that I haven't read yet about his life before he passed. And, I try to get, my husband and my father-in-law to do the same, because once people are gone, you don't have
I'm doing the same thing with my dear Aunt Mary. I lost my mom before I could do it with her. I lost one of the other aunts. I don't want to lose Aunt Mary Bell before I do.
But I think it's extremely important.
Sandra, are you someplace you can talk, or would you rather skip this section?
No, I can talk as long as, can you hear me okay? Because my windows are down. My air conditioning is broken.
No, I hear you. The wind is fine. So you have to remember what I read, but what do you think of that?
Well, I was just going to give some ways that I kind of alternatively journal. I do journal. I'm bad about my personal, like, okay, so if you think about it in terms of, here's my journal that I write in every day in my notebook, that sounds really like
A chore.
overwhelming to me. Like it's a job.
One more chore.
Right. But when you're talking about pictures and stuff, the thing that I really like to do is it has to do with pictures. I'm a scrapbooker, and I haven't done a lot of scrapbooking in the last little bit because raising my kids was really, really difficult and they had a lot of issues. And so once we got them, I only kept up with it for about a year, and then I was like exhausted with it. So I do have a lot of stuff from back then, but I think thinking of journaling not just as writing in a notebook, but thinking of it in terms of making notes about what you're learning and all that kind of stuff. So like in my iPad, I have an entire section that's just called books. And when I'm reading a book, I jot down things that I like about the book, things, I take notes about books.
Yes.
If it's a personal development book, I will write really good notes. If it's a book for fun, I still write down the title of it. And those kinds of things keep you, they really keep you kind of cognizant of what they're like a skeleton to hang your memories on.
Yeah, that's
so
a good explanation.
if
An outline.
you know, oh, I was reading that book when my son graduated from high school, or I was, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be some big long drawn out thing. But I think when we keep track of book titles, and for one thing, we have the Cozy family calendar,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually I read somewhere, who was it? I think it was the Be Do Become people. They were saying at the end of every year, or maybe it was Dan Henry, you go back and you look at your calendar, at all of the old entries in your calendar. And that's how you see where you've been, and you gauge where you want to go. Awesome. And you do that at the beginning of every year. You go back and look over the old year and see all the things that were happening. One thing that was interesting the other day, Tim took off we have one of those paper calendar, that you tear off every day. That's
I'm
funny.
sorry?
Did you mail your check to Heather?
Go ahead.
Not yet, no.
Go ahead.
And he tore it off, and it said something about the 2020 Olympic Games are in Japan this year. And it went through all this stuff about Japan, and we were like, oh my gosh, they didn't happen because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And like when you look back through your calendar, that can kind of be a way, if you keep track of your appointments, if you jot little notes.
Thank you.
That's a way to journal.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to think of it in terms of, I'm going to sit down every day for 25 minutes and write in my journal.
That ain't happening. Thank you, Sandra. Right. I agree. That's a great idea. I know that Amy was making notes. So can you spell Cozy for that Cozy calendar you mentioned?
Yeah, it's COZI. It's an electronic calendar that you can share with your family, and it actually even has a journal section, a place where you can upload pictures. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, and you can share it with your family members. And it's got grocery lists. It's got all kinds of stuff, and it's free. You can pay $25 a year if you want to have more than one reminder about an appointment, but that's about the only thing you have to pay for. So the other thing I was going to say, I just remembered, was when I get done with a trip, like we just got back from the Smoky Mountains, I will take my iMovie app and I will make a little 5-minute movie about that trip. and it doesn't take very long to do. And in fact, they've got templates that are like a 1-minute template that you can actually load your pictures into, and it just does it for you. But that's a really great way to keep track of memories as well. I know he's talking about business stuff,
No,
about
it's
where
the
you've
same thing.
been.
It's personal development. I mean, he talks a lot about network, and he does say that. In fact, he says, for me to grow in this business and in life. So,
Yeah.
and I think what's
But
interesting
you
too
can
is
include stuff like that too. You can do business trips. You can even say, well, this was a huge month for me in my business. What did I do? Well, I always take a picture when I'm meeting with somebody in person that's a business partner. I always take a picture of it as a selfie. And what a great way to keep track of all that. If you took all those selfies and you put them in a little, 1-minute movie every month, you would have a really good record of when people came into your business and who you were meeting with and whether or not you kept up with actually touching base with people. You could even take snapshots of calendar entries. Maybe you forget to take the selfie, but there's a calendar entry. Hey, I'm meeting with this person on this date. Take a snapshot of it, have that included in your little movie. And then you've got all of these things that are not just you're not going to just sit down and look at them. I guess my concept for that was we both lost parents very early. My husband's mom passed away at 48 after we've been married 3 years, and 4 months later we lost my dad at age 53. And it's been 20 years since we lost them. And it's made us really aware of all the things that we don't know. Like, as we've been raising our kids, we've wanted to talk to them about stuff that we didn't even know to ask when we were 23, 24 years old, and so now it's like we've got all these questions, but there's not really a whole lot like to look at. We do have a journal that his mom wrote, which has been really fun to read through. But how cool would it have been if we had had a series of movies that just showed, oh, look at the way she just dealt with Jeffrey there. He was being a jerk. He's 6 and swinging from a rock over a cliff. And instead of freaking out, she said, Jeffrey, I know you love adventure, but I need to keep you safe. Like, what if we had stuff like that from them? How much different it would have been parenting. It would have just been so helpful to have seen and been able to remember those kinds of things, especially with his mom, because his dad had a stroke and doesn't remember anything. So anyway, that's all. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, my only thing was to reread the last, I highlighted this and I want to keep this in my memory. I think this is really cool. Live your life like it is a movie with your favorite soundtrack playing in the background. You are the star and your teammates and your family are the co-stars. Take the lead role and nail it. So I like the idea of thinking of your life as a movie. It's, just keeps going. Maybe more like a soap opera, because it goes up and down and up and down. The other thing is, I would say, not only are you the lead, you're the director. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. And I was very passive, just whatever life threw at me, I'll just handle it. Versus being the director and saying, I'm going to make some choices to make things happen that I want to. So, all right, Sandra, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, we only have one more segment.
I could always talk more. You know me.
Finish eating. We're good. Okay, this segment is the second one, the last part we're doing. And it's where he says, be like an ant. And I'm like, what? So it says, have you ever watched ants? The little bugs are rather admirable. They have the ability to target exactly where they're going, and they find a way to get there. You can see them walk in a line towards their goal, but if you place a block between them and the goal, do they decide that this obstacle is too large to overcome and turn back? Nope. It doesn't matter what you do to try to block their path. They will find a way. They will go over, under, or around until they accomplish their mission. Ants are relentless and unstoppable. That's the way network marketers have to be. Pick your goal and then be like an ant. Determination is the common characteristic of all 7-figure income earners in network marketing. Don't let the fake stories of luck fool you. Every millionaire got there with a dedicated work ethic. They put blinders on and kept their heads down and moved forwards. Ants don't even seem to get upset when you try to block their path. They don't even slow down. They just keep charging on until they succeed. So can you. Develop an ant mentality. Nothing is going to stop you. Amy, this is definitely causing you some emotional reaction. You want me to go to Melissa first? Yeah. Okay. Melissa, what do you think about being an ant?
I love it. I love it because I sit and watch them. I sit and watch them. And you know, in the morning, you know, like say if somebody like drops a piece of food or something on the ground on our patio, there they come. And all of a sudden there's like a million of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they are just determined to get to where they need to be. And that to me, I mean, saying you want to be like an ant really, you know, a lot of people might look at you funny for that. But to me, I mean, they are truly remarkable creatures. They like, their brain is like non-existent, but at the same time, they are driven. Sometimes I wish I could maybe have that drive myself.
A little bit of that focus.
Like unwielding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Florida with fire ants, and they're the same way. We used to put all kinds of stuff down their holes, and they'd still just survive. They'd find a way to get you, always. I wasn't sure about being compared to an ant, but yeah, I guess in this way. Did any of you guys have ant farms when you were little, or your kids have ant farms? Oh my, you've got to get your kids an ant farm. So we had ant farms, and one time they had all these ant farm. You guys all know what it is, right? You've seen them. Okay. So one of them that one of my sons had all these intricate tunnels, and they had the nest over here where they were laying eggs, and they were storing food over here. It was all intricately organized like a little city. And I was putting him to bed one night, and the whole thing got knocked over. Boom. And so we lost 10 or 15 ants. We grabbed this bar and put the bar back on it, but it was just all like solid sand, you know. And he was upset. I said, you know what? I said, we'll deal with it in the morning. It's not like we can't find more ants right outside the door. You know, we'll fix it in the morning. And so he went to bed, and when he got up the next morning, it was almost back. I mean, they didn't have any food stored, and they didn't have any little nest over here, but all the pathways were back overnight. That's when I realized how industrious they were. Okay, so was that encouraging, Melissa, to you? The ant mentality?
Yes, very much.
Okay, I'm an ant. What was that? Isn't there a kid's song about being an ant? An ant? Okay, yeah, we'll have to come to that later. Amy, are you okay, baby? What's reminding you of sad things?
Yeah, Sandra really, you know, with the stories and pictures.
Sandra, you made her cry.
Sorry, it's okay. This month is just,
Sorry.
It's okay. It's a good cry. Go for it, Amy.
okay. It really is. It really is. But with the Be Like an Ant, I marked in my book, don't let the fake stories of luck fool you.
Ah, that was your catchphrase. Yes. I just heard somebody say, I'm an overnight 7-year success story. And I thought, I love that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I hope to be that.
You will. You will.
I pray to God, you know, I so need this business to work for. I shared that last week.
The way you keep working, it's going to happen. It's just the ant thing.
Yeah.
How's Amy? Oh, she's being an ant today. What?
Yeah.
What?
Determination, I also circled, and develop an ant mentality.
Yeah, develop an ant mentality. I did that one too. Develop an ant mentality. Nothing is going to.
So,
I think we should all print out pictures of a big ant or something.
I know, right? So those are what I circled.
All right, Sandra, are you going to be an ant also?
I am an ant.
You are an ant? Just get out of my way.
I am. Sorry, I'm going to swallow some of my sandwich. I know when I eat with these headphones in, everybody can hear me actually chewing. It's very disgusting. No, I resonated with it because that's what I am. I've been very discouraged about my business lately, but I don't think of it in terms of I'm going to quit my business. I think of it in terms of what am I going to do different to make this work?
Yeah.
Like here's an obstacle in front of me. How am I going to go around it? How am I going to make sure that this thing is actually going to happen? And I don't necessarily think that quitting is always a bad thing. Because I think it's more of having an attitude of, like, my overarching goal in life is to make enough money to do the things that I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
And the vehicle doesn't necessarily matter. In this case, I feel like because part of my passion is traveling and part of it is that I want to give people the gift of travel, that fits in really well with what my passions are.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this the other day, if this whole COVID thing destroyed the travel industry for years and there was no way to make money on travel, I would still keep going. I would find something that I could do that would create the income that I know I can have in order to meet the goals that I have, which do involve travel, but they also involve things like helping foster kids with an equine therapy center.
Mhm.
And I can't build that with no money. I have to have money to build it. And so I don't think in terms of this has to be the thing. I think in terms of what am I doing with this thing that is causing it to not work, and how can I do it differently? And I'm always asking the question of how should I pivot?
Mhm.
Because pivoting is the thing. If you can pivot, whatever that looks like, you can meet your goals.
Yeah.
And you can do what you need to do. And I think that's the thing, is that I think generally speaking, network marketing is a vehicle that can get me there.
Absolutely.
And I don't necessarily, um, I don't necessarily have to have it be travel, honestly. If it's a different network marketing thing, that's fine. But I think that this network marketing company has the elements that I want in a company.
And
And I don't feel like I have to sell travel.
Yeah.
There's so many things about it that make it a vehicle that really fits with the rest of my goals.
Mhm.
But I guess I also recognize, and I'm old enough now and have enough wisdom to recognize that sometimes we have ideas that we pursue that aren't necessarily what God wants us to be doing.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be this. If it ended up that it wasn't, it's not like I would be devastated. And I think that's why I'm an ant. If this didn't work and I knew it wasn't working and beyond a shadow of a doubt I needed to quit, I wouldn't throw up my hands and say, well, I'll never have any money. I would just say, what do I need to do to have money? I've got
How
to
do
do
I find
something
my way?
else.
Right. How do I
What's the
find my
next
way?
idea?
Yeah, I
Right.
have to find my way. Right. I think what I would say to that is I completely agree. I think finding that spot, though, you've got to be absolutely certain, because what I have experienced in my life is quitting too soon, way too soon. And so that becomes a pattern. It's not working. Well, is it not working, or are you not working smart enough, hard enough, in the right way, in the right direction? So I think, pivoting, and Melissa says that's her word of the year, in case you can't see the chat, Sandra. Her word of the year is pivot. So that, I think that might actually be the word of the year for the world at this point, because every day I'm seeing more and more industries that are either going to go away or going to be significantly changed. I was thinking about this. A lady was talking about how she and her family had been in the catering business for 25 years. And I thought, what does catering look like now? So, a lot of things are really going to be changing. So pivot is a good word. But I like, if you look at the illustration he has of the ant is going straight, and then there's this big wall in front of it. And so the ant goes around it. Those are pivots. He pivoted this way, pivoted this way, pivoted this way, got back on the path. So if your path is financial independence and something comes up in the middle, you may have to pivot around a little bit, but get back on the path. Does that make sense? We lost Melissa, but that's okay. So I'm not going to keep you here if we've done what we've done. Is there anything that you want to talk to the group, ask the group, or share with the group, Sandra? You turned your video off, dear. I know pushing the buttons on the phone is hard.
I'm sorry. I was trying to reply to Amy and I totally messed the entire situation up. So, what was your question again?
I said, do you have any last thoughts before we jump off this week to share with the class? Or request, like, hey, I'm struggling with this and I could appreciate your prayers for this specific thing, or I had this really cool encounter this week, or anything like that.
I am really struggling with signing people up in the current atmosphere of things, where we keep thinking travel is going to happen, and then it shifts again and everything shuts down. And so I have a hard time. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time trying to sell people a business that
we all do. We will all be saying prayers for that and for you. But having Lavonda down there in the Dominican and Latasha down there in Cancun have been very encouraging for me.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sending a family to Cancun. I mean, they're going on the 24th.
Awesome.
They are super excited.
Amy's on her way soon too. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually what was really cool about that story is they were going to go to London. I had booked it for them to go to London. They were going to do the Harry Potter tours and do some educational stuff. They're homeschooling family. And their trip got canceled. It was supposed to be April 15th. Mm-hmm. And it got the 25% more, future travel credit. So she was bummed because she was like, can we schedule our London trip now for the fall? And I'm like, well, they make you quarantine for 14 days.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, and so I said, well, I mean, you don't have to go to London. And she's like, what? I don't have to go to London. I was like, no, you can go anywhere you want. And Mexico's open. But I said, that's a totally different trip. And she said, we're done with the curriculum that we were doing. It was supposed to be like a culminating thing. We can go to London a different time. I was like, okay. And she said, what my son really wants to do is he really wants to see the jungle. And I'm like, well, go to Cancun and Chichen Itza and all that. She's like, well, could we afford it? I said, your entire package was pretty much your plane tickets. Yeah. I said, you now have $4,000 and your kids are under 12. You can go to an all-inclusive resort, not pay a penny, get excursions, do the entire thing. You can have an amazing vacation.
Yeah, $4,000 in Cancun goes a long way.
Goes a long way. They are, I cannot even express to you how excited they are. And I was going to make $95 on their London trip that I had worked really hard on. And now I'm making $450. So I was like, that's pretty good trade. I guess COVID did do me some good after all.
Well, Cancun, the commissions I have experienced are up all over. Bonus commissions, free nights, all kinds of stuff they're offering. So
yeah, that was really cool.
That's a good story. All right,
that's
Amy,
a good story.
Hang on to that story. Okay.
I'm in so much of a mess. I'm sorry. This month is just really hard on me.
Challenging.
Yeah, it is. But I'm ready. I'm doing power hours. Yes. I'm doing what I need to do. It's hard for me because I'm trying to build rapport, but it's so challenging because I just want to go. I just want to, go up.
Are you interested or not? Tell me yes, tell me no, tell me something, I gotta go. You really might, if you're struggling with the rapport stuff.
I am.
And you might want to start looking at Ray Higdon.
Yeah, I'm just, I understand the rapport. Oh, and some people over a year. I'm like, really?
Well, the thing is, if you are talking to them once a month over the course of a year, once every 2 months, that's different. And that's usually what it is. If you're talking to them every week or every day, no, I'm not interested in that. The thing is, like I said, you might want to look at Ray Higdon's thing.
Yeah,
he's much more, and his scripts and ideas are in our team group in the files. I put his scripts right there.
Because I'm so over it. I just don't have the energy.
Yeah, his are much more to the point. Hi, I'm Amy. I found your profile this way, and I have an opportunity. If you're interested, let me know. If you're not, no big deal.
Yeah, it
gets right to the point. And then if they say no, then you can do the build rapport stuff. Okay, no problem. Hey, where do you work? Yeah, easy peasy. Easy.
Yeah,
For me on that, I did a lot of the same thing Amy did. Develop an ant mentality. Nothing is going to stop you. I really think I'm going to either get a toy ant or I'm going to find a nice graphic of an ant and put it on my vision board to remind myself, keep going. Yeah. And I do have an encouraging story, kind of like Sandra's. My cruise people that were going on a cruise up in New England in an interior cabin are now going on a 7-day Caribbean cruise in a balcony cabin.
Wow. For
the same money. And that's not even the best part. So today is payday for IntelliTravel, right? I was expecting $0 for me and about $25 for Jeff just from the 10% override thing. I go onto my email, get a payment. You've got a payment from IntelliTravel for $557. What? So I logged on to IntelliTravel to find out what the heck that was all about. Number one, Norwegian paid me for the first cruise that got canceled. Number two, Carnival paid me for the cruise that was supposed to happen in February and got canceled. Already, it's in my check. Yeah. So I was just like, what?
Yeah. But didn't people get refunds for that?
Yeah. But they're doing that protect your commission thing.
Yeah.
So like my client on the Norwegian, they rebook, and I'm going to see what happens because they've rebooked twice. So they have actually 3 cruises on the books. This is the first one I got paid for. And then the girls cruise, like I said, that's not supposed to happen until February. But they canceled it because they're rearranging ships and stuff. And I got paid on that one.
Well, I do have to say, I have not been paid on my November commission.
Yeah, something's wrong with that. Did you send all that to Lavonda when she asked?
Yep, she said she's gonna push it through. So
when did she say that?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah. They're all over that. We had 2 directors calls in a row weekly that was focused on that issue. In fact, we had the IntelliTravel. James was there, and Jessica and one other person was invited onto the Planet Marketing monthly directors call, and they were grilled. I mean, the directors were reading, because you know how the directors went out and asked people to report and gathered all that? They were giving it to them. Yeah. And so I think that's getting fixed. Pardon?
One is a car rental for an entire week. I'm like, car rental? Really?
Oh, car rentals are really notoriously bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Getting paid on those takes a long time. But a lot of the stuff people were sending in too, the rule was you had to put your outside bookings into the thing within 72 hours. Now they're saying 24, right? Now they're saying 24 hours, but the reality is a lot of people didn't do that. And then they're complaining about not getting paid. So they had to sift through those and find the ones that actually had done everything right and not getting paid versus the ones that didn't get paid because they missed something, right?
Yeah, I did that when I booked it. And it was
That's the easiest way, is just take it over there. But anyway, that was my encouraging word for the day. Sandra, you look like you got something on your mind now. You just want to go see how much money you made?
No, I did get paid today and I wasn't expecting it.
Go see
I
what
got
it's for.
$71. I don't know. Well, there were a lot of things last year at the end of the year I didn't get paid for. And I sent in a very extensive list of everything to IntelliTravel. And I think it's because last month I got like $450. And the month before that I got $400.
Yeah, well,
And I
what I will
wasn't
tell
expecting
you,
any of that.
the same thing I tell my team is every month when you get paid, go back and sort all the ones that you have not been paid on. And if they don't have a date that they're ready for and the amount in there, then I send an individual email for each commission that is over 60 days and has been paid. And I do that every single month. And then I can pull it
I
up.
need to be more. The other thing I was wondering though, when did they make the rule about putting it in within 24 hours?
That's just recent. Go look and see if they actually codified that, or if
So they're saying you're
codified
not going to get paid if you don't put it in there within 24 hours?
Very possible. Very possible.
No,
Nope.
no. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Go
cut
ahead.
in.
No,
Sorry
please
about that.
tell us. What did you find?
No. What happens is if you don't register it within 24 hours, it doesn't mean that you won't get it. However, you do have to contact customer service and have them put it in for you.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
you're not necessarily, I mean, because that's what some host companies do.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what Debbie, my
Thank
team
you for
member.
that. Thank you
has
for that
told me.
update. Yeah, one of her new team partners got ripped off a lot by another host agency. Yeah, thank you. The reason this came up, Melissa, is I was sharing with them, I'm really glad you came back. I got paid today for both of the canceled cruises. You too? Yeah, no. Okay, go check your email.
I did. I got a payment today, but it wasn't for the cruise. I got to figure out.
Well, the first Norwegian cruise was supposed to be in March, I think, February or March, and I got paid for that one. It got rescheduled for August and then canceled again. So I got paid for that one from Norwegian.
Wow.
But I also got paid from Carnival for a future cruise. So you know that girls cruise that I've been doing every February? So I have maybe 7 or 8 people that have paid on their, I have a lot of deposits, but most of it hasn't paid the whole full deposit or their room, but some of them have.
Right.
I got paid they canceled the cruise last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think. They canceled it because they're rearranging their ships. So even though it's scheduled for February, they canceled it. They paid me today for it.
That is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I have to call Royal today because I've got a big mess. I don't want to take up the time. It's just one of the people that were going on the cruise passed away last week.
Oh,
59 years old.
Oh, wow. COVID or something else?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Not that close. Yeah.
It's just I didn't know her, but
Yeah,
she
you
was
can't
the
ask.
lady that's taking everybody on the cruise. The daughter-in-law. It's the her.
Oh, it's not the lady that's taking everybody. It's her daughter-in-law.
Oh no, thank God.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
that
I
is
don't mean
horrible.
anybody to die, but I mean that's just
Right. No, I said that, Sandra, because Melissa's doing a family cruise, and the grandmother, great grandmother of the matriarch of the family is paying for everybody. So if she passed away, that would be, that's one of the things on my bucket list. So anyway, we're almost at an hour. I'm going to cut us off, but I think it was a really good session. And I would, if you guys enjoy this format versus a different format, please speak your mind to Ray and I, because we're almost at the end of this book. And we're going to be talking about where do we go from here, what next. So your input is very much appreciated, and it will determine how we go forward, because we're not ending this, but how do we go forward? What's our next step? It's there's a wall in front of us because this book is over. So are we going to go over, under, around, or on top? And she brings it home, I'm telling you.
Wow. You somehow pulled that together to make sense. I'm proud of you.
And see, that's why I go way up here, and people think I don't know what I'm talking about, but I brought it home.
I'm proud to call you my friend. Thank you. That was a genius pulling it all together.
Oh, wait, one more thing here. Gotta give myself a hand. Okay.
Oh,
Gus,
my goodness.
have you never seen my clapper?
No. I'm not surprised you haven't.
Okay, so when I was doing eBay and I had a table at the eBay events, I started taking these with me and said, that cat will always clap for you. So the whole room was full of these, and I became the official clapper of the Las Vegas eBay radio party, and I brought these every year. The thing is, Someone said, Kathy, you didn't think that through. I said, what, Chris? He said, I got the clap in Vegas.
That sounds like Chris.
Reminded people
Was it Chris Green?
Yeah. So, but I was the clapper lady. So I love you guys. I'm here. This is not the
Love
only
you
time
too.
you can talk to me. Sandra, it's good to see your face, sweetheart.
Amy, I need to text you or text me.
Awesome. All right. Love you guys. Bye for
Okay.
now.